The planning, programming, and budgeting system relies on the idea that future technologies could be precisely predicted and optimized for. Here's an example of how the PBBS founders actually thought. Suppose we need to optimize our budget allocation between strategic bombers and air defense forces. We can graph this on the y-axis to represent the amount of target destruction we can achieve using our bombers, and on the x-axis to represent the effectiveness of our air defenses. Don't worry about what the numbers represent, the PBBS founders didn't, but the further away from the origin, the more effective our bombers, and the more effective our air defenses in terms of their ability to kill. We can't afford an unlimited amount of bombers and air defenses. We are budget constrained. This budget constraint, represented by a concave curve, let's say it represents $10 billion. We can have a lot of bombers and a few air defenses in this region. Or we can have a lot of air defenses and few bombers in this region. Generally, we want a balance. Our preferences are represented by indifference curves. We are indifferent to outcomes anywhere along this curve. But we like even more curves that are further up and further to the right. The optimal allocation of resources for bombers and air defenses is at the tangency point between our budget constraint and our indifference curves, located here. In principle, this is the way the founders of the PBBS envisioned optimizing the entire defense enterprise. Alan Enthoven, one of McNamara's whiz kids and the first director of Office of Systems Analysis, believed the marginal analysis he learned in his sophomore economics class could translate directly into defense decisions. No longer was there a need for quote-unquote direct experience or the reading of history books. He wrote, "The economic theory of price and allocation, a branch of moral philosophy in Adam Smith's day, has been reduced to mathematical terms and made into a usable instrument for quantitative analysis of problems of choice." Of course, none of this is actually how defense analysis proceeds. Uncertainty is too great, especially before production models are thoroughly tested. Incommensurables make reducing analysis to unitary scalars quite impossible. For example, a bomber has multiple attributes like speed, payload, range, stealth, reliability, and much more. Even if you knew these parameters before it was built, you couldn't know how to reduce it to a single number and compare it against the alternatives. So we must ask, if we accept the role of uncertainty, judgment, and competition, then why does the Pentagon still manage itself using an industrial era model that rejects these notions in favor of immaculate prediction and optimization? Please join us in reforming the Pentagon's budget process to accelerate innovation.